CRPHA, there's going to be a number of subjects here. I'm going to start with the current one that's obviously happening aside from the government shutdown, which basically I know the liberal media is going to try to blame Trump for, which basically it's not Trump's fault. Whose fault it is? It's not the American people's fault. It's not the Republican Party's fault, both conservative and regular. It's the liberals' fault, 100%, and I know they don't want to take responsibility for that. But I'll get to that later. One issue is, hold on one second. Okay, I'm going to let you know if you guys see me wear this. Granted, yes, this is the symbol of the state flag of California, but the basic fact is you don't see any white, you don't see any green, you don't see any red, all mixed in with that, right? You don't see the brown bear, you only see the brown bear being white right here with the red lining, right? And of course the red right here, and of course the red star. This right here does not defame the state flag. If it did, believe me, I wouldn't have gotten it. This shows that I'm a conservative Republican advocate right here, and a conservative Republican person in general. Okay. One issue for the state of California. There's a movement going on. There has been movement going on that the liberals think it's okay, and their partners essentially think it's okay to split off the state into various parts, like a damn piece of pie or a pizza or what have you else, instead of leaving it as one full state, one thing. That's not going to solve things, Jerry Brown. You dumbass liberal jackass. And if Nancy Pelosi thinks it's going to help in any way, she's more wrong than anything. If Barbara Boxer or Dianne Feinstein think the same thing, what the hell are you smoking? If any liberal thinks that it's going to help the state of California by splitting it off into sections and areas and properties and what have you, it's not going to do a damn thing that's positive. And also, we at CRPHA have found that there's been talk about the sanctuary state situation being already in fruition. And if that is actuality, here's the thing. Jerry Brown has done Nothing, absolutely nothing that benefits the state, nothing that benefits our youth and their education, nothing that benefits the citizens in general. He's only done things that benefit him and his party. And many of the people in the state of California don't realize that. They think that he's doing things for the state of California and for us, when really he's only been doing things for him and the party. That only benefits the party in general of the liberal, idiot, brain-dead, dumbass Democrats and him. Because if it benefits him, they benefit him. If it benefits, essentially, if he benefits the party, then they will turn and benefit him. It's basically Dutch direction in the negative way and then illogical of ways as well. And yet, all through the years, even before Trump, the liberal idiot Democrats have been saying, oh, we care about the American people. Oh, we'll do everything we can for the American people. We'll do this, and we know what the American people want. You don't know what the fuck the American people want. You're only perceiving shit. Perceiving a whole lot of shit ain't helping the party at all. Perceiving things and coming up with things and making things up as you go through, if you're any part of the liberal, democratic, brain dead, idiotic, illogical party, they've been doing that way too fucking much. And I don't mean to curse, but it's very annoying. It's very irritating. And it's not showing any light, the bright light at the end of the tunnel, metaphorically. All they're doing is coming up with things just so they sound good, just so they sound just so they have the perception and thought that the American people believe everything they say, and because it sounds so damn true. Now, I don't know about the rest of the American people, but if they've been doing that so many times, like a damn fucking broken record in a fucking broken tape recorder, continuously, and yet, what Jerry Brown has shown that he hasn't done anything to benefit the state of California. He hasn't done anything to benefit the state's citizens and its youth and the employment aspect. Let's put it this way: the high tax plan. He said He said it was supposed to be beneficial to the state of California and its citizens. Right when he first announced it. Then, even after it was torn to shreds, that it would help benefit the citizens along the way. Where's the benefit, Jerry Brown? Where has the benefit been? It's not benefiting the state at all. It's not benefiting the citizens at all. It's not benefiting any part of the state or anybody in the state, except for the liberal, idiot, Democratic Party. Okay, sanctuary city situation and sanctuary state situation, both unconstitutional. Okay, yet it seems to be used as a personal vendetta against the opposing party, being the Republican Party. And this whole action is done through this vendetta. Essentially, is done through the liberal, democratic, brain dead party. And yet they're going to try to place blame on the Republican Party. They can't do that because it wasn't. It's not their fault for the stupidity and the planning of turning certain things into a sanctuary status. It's the liberals' fault. They're the one that came up with it. It's not the Republicans' fault. So the liberals can try to place blame all they want, but guess what? It'll all go right back to the liberals. Therefore, that makes Jerry Brown look really bad as well. And when it comes to the sanctuary city, same thing, unconstitutional. And that's another thing. For a number of years, the when it comes to the constitution situation, for a number of years, the political party known as again the liberal democratic idiots, they claim that they are following the Constitution. If they were following the Constitution, they would have shown it through Clinton outside the employment situation. They would have shown it with Carter, but they didn't. They would have shown that they're following the Constitution when it comes to Barack Obama, but they haven't, because everything that that all three of those idiots have done was only one thing. I'm going to tell you, Bill Clinton. The only thing that he did that was beneficial for the state, for the citizens of the United States, including California, was the employment situation. But that only went so far, logically. But the rest of the crap only benefited the rest of them, starting with Carter all the way to Obama, only benefited one side. And it wasn't any had no correlation or connection to the American people or the United States youth. The only part it benefited of any of the two sides, be that the American people in our youth and the two political parties, it only benefited the one political party, being the liberal idiot Democrats. And they will try to tell you differently, but I know the truth. And it's being repeated in the state of California with the high tax plan, only beneficial to the liberal idiot brain dead Democrats. The sanctuary city and state thing, only beneficial for the liberal idiot brain dead Democrats. And I know they'll try to say that I'm a load of shit, which I'm not, because they don't want the American people to know the damn truth. In which I will always tell the American people the truth. And now, the liberal idiot brain dead dumbass Democrats want to section off various parts of the state of California. And they think it's going to be beneficial for the state of California and for its citizens. It's not going to be beneficial for anybody, but again, the liberal idiot Democratic Party, because and also it's not part of the Constitution for any political politician to do. That goes along with the fact of the sanctuary city situation and the sanctuary state situation. No politician is allowed to do that within the Constitution. Because so far it seems like those two actions, among many others, they have only benefited only one side, and that's the liberal idiot brain dead Democrats. It hasn't benefited the United States. It hasn't benefited the American people. It hasn't benefited any state, including New York, or even California for that matter. It hasn't benefited the citizens of this country and each state. It hasn't benefited the citizens' youth and our youth, essentially. in the state of California and New York and the United States in full. It's only benefited the liberal, democratic, brain-dead party. So I'm going to put out this. The movement better stop. The movement of sectioning off the state of California better stop, because you're causing more bullshit. You're going to be causing more bullshit financially and otherwise than you think. Regardless of if we're the richest state in the country, it doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter how much a state gets or has, for that matter. You do not section off various parts of any state, including California, and think it's going to be beneficial, or if it's going to be helpful in some aspect or way or what have you. It's not. And plus, on top of that along with the sanctuary state status is unconstitutional. So Jerry Brown has until April still to get rid of the sanctuary state and city status for California and to drop the high tax plan, in which he secretly went behind closed doors and used Prop 39, which was advertised even by him on live television. The legislation was only for the California schools education funding, but yet he went behind closed doors as it was about to pass under the legislation of the school funding for the state of California and its youth. He changed it to where his high tax plan would pass. Right there shows that he is only about him and the fucking party. He's never been about the American people within the state of California to start with. He'll try to tell you differently, but believe me, I know. He will try to tell you anything that sounds good to you and make it sound true, which basically is a load of shit. Unless he admits to everything I've said being true. And therefore, if he doesn't take, and with the high tax plan situation, you realize that a number of businesses in the state of California have either gone belly up or financially strapped in the sense of survival, or completely left the state of California, even before the thing went into quote-unquote law, and or completely gone to the points of non-existent. Where there's no comeback. And on top of that, not one company, even a startup company, has wanted to come from back east into the West Coast market. And the first one they always go to is California, then they expand to various other West Coast states. Sometimes they'll go into the other West Coast states before they get hit to California, but sometimes, more often than not, they'll hit California because it's a wide, popular area with a lot of tourist attractions. But with the high tax plan, they're afraid to. It becomes too financially and economically too expensive for them. Where in any part of the high tax plan does that help California with the lack of jobs, which basically is becoming more and more to the point of where there's practically less and less jobs about to be in reality, where there's going to be more and more unemployed people. Where does that help California, Jerry Brown? Where does that help California? That doesn't help California. It doesn't help the citizens. Doesn't help our youth. And neither what you did with Prop 39. It doesn't help our youth either. It doesn't help the state of California. It doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody. It only benefits you and the Liberal Party, Jerry Brown. If Jerry Brown has watched any one of my videos that oppose him, completely go against him, he should see why. Because he is being found out, and I'm a pretty smart person. I'm not going to say like I'm Einstein or nothing, but I know what I'm talking about to be true. Whether if people want to say no, this is why this is happening, or this is why this is happening, the straight fact of it is, it always leads to Jerry Brown and his party, which basically doesn't make them look any rosier. Doesn't make them any less blameful, essentially. And it doesn't make them any less at fault either. So therefore, it doesn't make it doesn't really go connect with what I've been saying even to this point. I'm going to tell you straight out. I'm going to tell you straight out. I've lived in California for a long time, but there's many people, including my close friend, have decided to leave the state into other countries or other states. The more that happens, the more it's going to negatively affect and make California look way worse than it already does. And I'm going to tell you straight out, having a sanctuary status, having a high tax plan into fruition, and separating the state into various sections, it doesn't make the state look any better. Makes it look way worse either way. And say in the state of California, Governor Jerry Brown doesn't see that, nor does he even acknowledge that, obviously. And he'll deny it every chance he gets, and in any way he thinks he can get away with, because he thinks he knows more than we do, and he doesn't. Obviously, he doesn't know more than me. He may word things differently than I do, but the basic fact is, I know what's going on. He's only going by what he knows his party would agree with, like a little puppet. Jerry Brown's the Liberal Democrats' little puppet. Dianne Feinstein, Barbara Boxer, and also Nancy Pelosi, the Liberal Democratic puppets. And also the Hispanic liberal that's in the state of California. You know who I'm talking about. I can't remember her name offhand, but I wrote to her, and she obviously misconstrued what I wrote and why. Obviously, the benefit, again, the Liberal Democratic Party, as if what she said in typing, it was all printed out. It wasn't personally written. Just like Norm, that I've gotten from every Liberal Democrat Been printed out. Every letter that I've written to every retarded, dumb, brain dead liberal in the state of California, everything's been printed out because they don't want to take the time to write to the ones that have various topics and concerns and whatnot else, like I have. One thing is, if I was in political office, I would take the time. I would take care of the issues I need to take care of that I was voted in for, and then, say on the weekends when the office is closed, when the office hours are closed, I would take the time to do one per weekend, one or more per weekend, depending. But I'm not gonna. But the one thing is, I would not ignore every issue and situation and concern and whatnot that the American people, including in the state of California, have and have had for many years and many months. But obviously, the liberal Democrats only want things printed out and sent to you, as if that's gonna solve everything. That's gonna answer your questions and your concerns and make everything better. Horse shit. So again, when it comes to the high tax plan, when it comes to the sanctuary cities and state status, being the sanctuary city and sanctuary state status, Jerry Brown has until April to take both of those down. If he really wants to show that that he follows the Constitution of this country, he better take those things down. Because I know Donald Trump will, and he can legally and within the Constitution charge the state of California loads of fucking cash and loads of fucking um, charges against him, which basically would also, which basically can and could quite possibly affect the state of California and its citizens. But Jerry Brown doesn't see that, nor does he even care about that. And he doesn't think it's going to happen. But if Donald Trump is watching this, I know he can. He knows now that I know that he can. But the basic fact is, of course, it has to go through the House and the Senate. And of course, I know the liberal idiots of the House and also of the Senate, if there is any in the Senate, um, that they'll try to debunk it. They'll try to block its pathway. And if they do that, of what I've said time and time again, even today, proves it shows it right there that they don't give a damn about the American people. They don't give a damn about the United States. All they care about is what their agendas are and what benefits the party as well as them. Being, of course, that's the liberal. And I know the liberals will block that seriously. But of course, just like Obama tried to do many times, and on maybe one or two or whatever, he succeeded by going over the House and over the Senate and put it into action. No logical politician would do that. And yet, Obama is admired to be one of the best presidents in this country's history, and claiming that he did more positive than negative. Horseshit. He didn't. He did more negative than positive. He did practically zero positive. There was no jobs. He promised jobs. There was no aspect of in the positive of the educational thing. There was no positive when it came to the medical situation, because the Obamacare cost many Americans way too fucking much. Even through covered California, it's still costing the citizens, graduated costing the citizens way more than they can truly logically afford. So whoever thinks Obama was the best president that we've had next to Reagan, what the hell are you smoking? Something pretty heavy then, obviously. The only positive Democratic Party president we've had in this country's history is John Franklin Kennedy, JFK, essentially. Outside of that part of the century and part of the history of California of the United States, actually, it stopped right after he was assassinated, which is essentially sad that he was assassinated because he did a lot of good. It may not seem like it, but the National Aeronautics Space Association, NASA, essentially, that's a positive. Mm, that would and believe me, I know there's several others, but I can't think of any. Um, and then when we got Obama, he cut the funding to NASA, so they had to use the money that they had put aside to do the projects and missions that they wanted to do for the putting up in space. Bad move there, Obama. With a person like Obama, that limits the chances of um, a, actually more than limits really, makes what Roddenberry has shown to be non-existent for us, for the American people. NASA is doing things that would benefit what Roddenberry has shown, what Gene Roddenberry essentially has shown. That's more than possible to even become reality, an actuality. But with a liberal like Obama, it will be to the points of non-existent. And to what Roddenberry said, a big flash in the bang. With a person like Obama, that's more possible of a big flash in the bang where the whole entire planet is non-existent, where hundreds of billions of millions of billions trillions of people are dead, non-existent, including the damn president and including the damn other party on both sides are gone, non-existent, no longer living, incinerated. I don't want that. But the Liberal Party thinks that it's the best thing to do is to make it to where Roddenberry's vision does not happen. Which basically Roddenberry's vision is a positive. They don't want to see positive for the American people. The liberals don't want to see positive for the American people, but they're voice out as if they do, which is a load of shit. The only party that wants to see Roddenberry's vision to go into actual reality, conservative Republican Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party want to see and make it more than possible for Roddenberry's vision to actually happen. The liberals will try to turn the liberal Democrats will try to turn that against you by coming up with some sort of horrific shit, which basically is only in their demented little minds. But they'll make it sound so true and so actual that they think they know what they're talking about when basically they're making it up. They'll be making it up as they go, which basically it'd be non-scientific of what the liberals would try to make sound so damn true, which basically would be again a load of shit. That right there would also show that the American people are not considered and respected by the liberal Democratic Party by coming up with bullshit just so it makes the liberal Democrats look better. What would really make the liberal Democrats look better is one, get rid of the high tax plan for the state of California. Get rid of the movement of separating the various parts of the state into sections. Get rid of that, literally. Get rid of the sanctuary city and state status, both for California and New York, if any other state as well. Follow the path of Roddenberry. Do not make it. Do not cut the funding from NASA. Do not cut anything that benefits the cities within each state, and that also benefits the city, the state citizens essentially, and its youth. Do not go into things that would more benefit the party versus the people, being the American people and the youth. Do not do what Jerry Brown did when it came to Prop 39, for example. And I'm going to mention what he did again. Prop 39, even the Sacramento Bee, the most liberal, dumbass, brain-dead paper in the state of California, next to the Carmichael Times, among others. I found it surprising, and I know I mentioned this in one of my other videos, is that the Sacramento Bee even said that Jerry Brown went behind closed doors. They didn't say it exactly this way, but they said it pretty much in this perception here, in this way actually, is that he went behind closed doors as the voting process was going on, in the sense of where the Prop 39 under the legislation for the California school funding was about to pass. And he used one of the legislative loopholes and changed it to his high tax plan. So right there, that was surprising. And what was also surprising on the Carmichael Times when I was in Sacramento, that, and I'm not in Carmichael either. Anyway, the Carmichael Times said in such a way that Jerry Brown, as I've said in one of my other videos, he's not going to take any accountability for his actions. Because he doesn't think, he obviously still thinks that he hasn't done anything wrong. Jerry Brown, what the fuck are you smoking? You have done more, and Jerry Brown has done more that benefits him and the party, be that the party and him, essentially. Because like I said earlier, what benefits the party will benefit Jerry Brown. But it doesn't benefit the state. It doesn't benefit the American people within the state of California. It doesn't benefit the youth in the state of California. It doesn't benefit any part of that except for the party and Jerry Brown. So essentially, the things that Jerry Brown said that would benefit the state and its citizens that he's voiced out essentially. Where's the benefit? Where's the benefit? Where's the benefit? Yeah, one thing through the legislation of Prop 39, if he left it alone and let the school funding thing pass under the school funding legislation, that would have benefited the youth. That's one of the top importance to every parent, no matter where you're at, no matter what state you're in, no matter what country you're in, no matter what county you're in, or no matter what city and town you're in. If you're a parent and you know that the Prop 39, if it would have passed under this school legislation, starting in the state of California, that would have been majorly important to you because that would also show that the state's actually doing something right for our youth. Because if we want our youth to have the most positive, bright future that will ever be given, for at least for this century, to begin with. That right there, I wouldn't put against Jerry Brown. I wouldn't put against the Liberal Party, the Liberal Democratic Party, if that actually passed as school funding. But unfortunately, it didn't, and sadly, it didn't. It passed under his high tax plan, the very one that every fucking news media across this country, even across the state of California, across this very state, every citizen that was interviewed and talked with by every media source, including the liberal media from Channel 7, KGO, all the way through to Channel 10, to KCRA 3, CBS 31, 10, I mean 10, well, not ABC 10 essentially, CBS 13, CBS KPIX 5, and a good number and a fair number of the conservative to moderate media sources that practically every citizen in the state of California said it was a bad idea. The high tax plan was a bad idea, and it would not benefit the state of California, and it would not benefit the citizens of California. But did Jerry Brown hear that? Did he? Did he really take heed to what was being said? Or did he really give a damn? Or even take any concern into it? No, he did not. Because if he did, he would have allowed the school funding to be passed under Prop 30, the legislation Proposition 39. But as I said before, He only did things that benefit him and his party. The sanctuary city and state thing is personal and vindictive. That's but it but it also but in a way, in some respect, it does benefit the Liberal Party and him being Jerry Brown, and separating the state into various sections would basically benefit the Liberal Party. It wouldn't benefit the state. It wouldn't benefit the citizens. No matter how much the fucking liberals would try to proclaim that it does, when it doesn't. And plus, both the sanctuary city and state status, and the separation of various parts of the state does go against the Constitution. And the liberals may claim that they're following the Constitution. Load of shit, bullshit. You're smoking fucking too much weed, man. Too much fucking heavy shit, man. Too much fucking angel dust. Too much fucking PCP. Whoever thinks that the liberals are doing things for the state of California that are positive, and if they consider it positive, they're smoking the same shit. You must be getting a fucking supply of what the liberal, democratic, dumb brain dead idiots are smoking. And you're lying to yourself and the people who are around you if you think that the liberals are doing something positive. Wake up and fucking smell the fucking base of reality and logic. The liberals are not doing anything positive for the state of California, for the state of New York, and they're not doing anything positive for the citizens of both states. They haven't done anything positive for the whole entire country, for that matter, starting from Washington, D.C. all the way across. I tell it how it is. I tell the reality, even if people don't want to hear it, because politics, I know, is a very, very iffy subject and can be harsh as well. But harsh can be also negative. Harsh can be also positive. In this case, it's positive because I'm telling the truth. That's the base right there. So again, on the motion of separating the state into the state of California into sections, has better stop to a very large points of where the idea and movement is non-existent. The speed train thing better stop to the points of non-existent. The sanctuary city and state status better be taken down to the points of non-existent. The high tax plan better be taken down to the points of non-existent. Because none of those are helping the state of California or its citizens or its youth all in one. As it's been said, that the sanctuary cities and state status will cost the state of California more than it will be able to afford, regardless of how rich people may think that it is. With that, though, it's been said that the National Parks Association has hidden quite a large sum of money, especially when it came to the recession situation, even under and before Obama. And I can understand why they did that. So therefore, I can understand they want to preserve beauty the natural resources and whatnot, and a larger percentage of it is for the natural resources and the beauty and or for the state and nature in general. It's not 100% for the people who are appropriating it. I understand that 100%. Yet they were put as if they were at fault for doing so. When logically, without the media even realizing that a percentage of what was given was also given back. A percentage of what they were not using was given back, aside from a certain percentage was maybe put aside. But hey, that's a logical thing, you know, because you know no one knows it, how long. No one knew essentially how long the recession was going to happen. No one knew if it was going to get worse or even better. Therefore, also the recession can even be worse the next time the years beyond now. So basically, the when it comes to the natural resource situation, they did a good thing. The National Park Association did a good thing. And yes, the state was still being benefited by the National Park Association paying their taxes, paying their part with within the state and for the state. Aside from putting a certain percentage each year and each month aside after what they pay their employees and what they use towards the natural resources and be the of course plants and trees and all that. So basically, they're not at fault at all. That I have cleared their I have cleared them for that of what they were blamed by the liberal media. But what stands still is that Jerry Brown and the Liberal Party have to completely dismantle the movement of separating the state of California into sections, which basically is unconstitutional. Jerry Brown has to take down and dismantle the sanctuary city and state status, which goes against the Constitution as well. Whether if I don't care if it's a vendetta against the opposing party, being the Republican, conservative, and regular Republican Party. I don't care. You don't do that if you're a politician. You're not a fucking small child, and no citizen in the state of California or any citizen in the United States wants a politician to act like a little fucking stubborn little child using certain things as a vendetta, a personal vendetta, especially. And what Jerry Brown has put forth as the sanctuary city and state situation as a personal vendetta against the opposing party. And yet he's completely gone against the Constitution by doing so as well. And the high tax plan, which basically has not helped and has not benefited the state of California or its citizens or its youth. So essentially, both the high tax plan, the sanctuary city and state status needs to be taken down and dismantled to non-existence. The movement of separating the state into various sections, even with the fact that it is unconstitutional, it needs to be cleared out of mind and thought and action because it is also unconstitutional and and it better and that movement better stop right now. Because the next video I will be making may be a call for uh, Jerry Brown's impeachment, which basically I can, as an advocate, call for Jerry Brown's impeachment by April of this year if he doesn't do the things that I mentioned. Take down a high tax plan to where they can, or the businesses that want to come into the state of California um, are able to come in here with no high cost price tag, and to where they can employ the American people of the state of California, be they of course the citizens of California. Take down the sanctuary city and state status. You have to do those two things, Jerry Brown, before April. Take down the sanctuary city and state status before April. Take down the high tax plan and dismantle it as well before April. Because those two things that are non-beneficial to the state of California and the citizens and our youth in the state of California is not beneficial at all. So either take them down and dismantle them to the points of non-existent, or you will be impeached. And also, for those in the Liberal Party, better stop the liberal movement of separating the state into various sections and areas. That's also against the Constitution, like I said before. So take it down. Do halt the movement of separating the state of California into sections and areas, or I can and I will report it to the federal government, and it'll go over the liberal part of the government, and I can make sure that. Because not one liberal will agree with what I have said. Not one liberal voter and follower will agree with what I have said. I know that. I'm more than well aware of that, and I don't care because they want to believe something that's not really reality. They don't want to go into the fantasy fairy tale, beneficial for them only type of land, type of world, which basically that's not reality. What's reality is things that benefit everybody equally, not just the party itself, not just the one side of a business or whatever else. It would benefit the whole entire population within the state of California, within the United States of America, within every state across this country, including the Hawaiian Islands. If the movement is not taken down and dismantled, the very movement that is said to separate the state into sections, I will have another thing to put in Jerry Brown's impeachment and to disbar every liberal in the state of California and in Washington, D.C. Which basically that will more than hurt the liberal Democratic Party, and that's not a threat. That's a damn promise. You want to stay as a Democratic Party? Do things that benefit the state of California. Do things that benefit the United States. Do things that benefit the American people. Do things that benefit the United States youth. Do things that benefit the state of California's youth. Do things that benefit the state of New York's youth. Do things that benefit the safety and well-being of every citizen across this country, including California and New York. That's including allow employment, but the only way employment will be able to come into the state of California is with the high tax plan taken down and dismantled. The only way that people will feel comfortable and well benefited is with not only a high tax plan taken down and dismantled, with the sanctuary city and state thing taken down and dismantled, and with the movement of separating the state of California into sections taken down and dismantled and stopped. And actually follow the same pathway, if at all, that would still benefit the states, cities and counties, and the citizens of California, and the citizens of the United States, and the citizens' youth, and be that, of course, the United States youth, the state of California's youth, the state of New York's youth. That includes with the aspect of education and for the adults, part of the population, employment and cheaper housing, more affordability on every level. So liberals, you got a wide task, and Jerry Brown, you still have until April for the two. If those who have watched this video want to talk with me and have any questions, like for example, how do I get this information, and how do I know so much of what I've said in each one of my videos to be an actual fact? You can ask that. You can ask any number of things, but be cordial and polite, please. Thank you. Have a good day, and may Heavenly Father bless the United States of America and the youth of America and the citizens of America.